Okay, so yesterday or Monday, you went over the flow chart at the end of class about ionic and covalent compounds. So ionic rules are when your first element's a metal. If your first element is a non-metal, then you follow the covalent rules. So first part is if you have the formula, so this is MgI2, Ba3N2, CO2 or CO, then you're doing naming. Okay, so first thing that you do in ionic is you name the metal. You just say what it is. Oh, that's really big. I'm just going to write with this. Okay. Metal. Give the non-metal an IDE ending, and then you ignore the subscripts at the bottom. So I just look at what is Mg. I name the metal. It's magnesium. What's I? It's iodine with an IDE ending is iodide. At the back of your periodic table, you have all the IDE endings. So this is way long ago. You have your colorable periodic table. The back side of it has all of these. So Mg is right here, magnesium. Iodine is right over here, iodide. So that's something that you can go back and look at as needed. So what is Ba? Ba is barium, so I just say the name of that metal. What is N? It's nitrogen with an IDE is nitride. There are no prefixes here. Covalent rules, very similarly, you say the name of the first element, second one gets an IDE. The only difference is that I use prefixes here. So if I have, the only exception is there's no mono for the first element if it's one. So here, since I have one carbon, I would say monocarbon, except I don't use mono in my first one, so I just say carbon. And then I have two oxygens, so 2 is di, which gives me dioxide. It's the gas that you exhale when you breathe. And then over here I got one carbon again, so I don't use mono on my first one, so that's carbon. But if I have one in my second one, and that's the purpose, I do say monooxygens with an IDE, which is monoxide, which you've probably also heard of. Okay, so formula writing. We'll do covalent first because it's a little simpler. All you do is you write out the symbols, and then you look at the prefix on each element in the name, and then you write the prefix listed as subscript on the same atom from the name. So I have dinitrogen, so I write nitrogen, and then di tells me that I have 2 nitrogens. Oxygen is O, di tells me I have 2 oxygens. Nitrogen is N. I don't have a prefix, which tells me that I have 1, but I don't write ones. Monooxide is 1 oxygen, but again, I don't write 1, so it's just NO. Ionic is a little bit more complicated. What you do is you write out the symbol and the charges in the upper right-hand side of each atom. So an example, barium is Ba, oxygen is O. And write the charges from the periodic table. And where do I find these? Again, I'm just going back to Unit 2, periodic table. Colorable periodic table. I go down to the bottom. Ba is right here, barium. And for the most part, all of our elements that we're crisscrossing with are going to come from there. And all of our non-metals are going to come from over here. So it's barium and oxygen from right there. Okay? That's where I'm getting that information. Magnesium is Mg, plus 2 charge. Iodine is iodine with a -1. And when I crisscross, I don't want to do that. So I write the symbols and the charges. Then I crisscross to the opposite symbol on the bottom right-hand side of that symbol. So they should end up here and here, here and here. When I crisscross 1 and 2, 2 and 2. Then I do a couple things. I do not write ones or the positive or negative symbol. So if I followed that order, I'd get Ba2, O2. I don't have ones, no positive or negative. Here I get Mg1, don't write it, I2. And then like numbers cancel or reduce. So if I have 2 2s, they cancel and I just get BaO as my final answer. Okay, so that's what we went through. Now I'm just gonna, I forgot that I put it on here. So I'm just gonna name these. So these are all ionic, so there's no prefixes here. So this is magnesium. Br is bromine with an IDE ending as bromide. Okay. Ba is barium, and S is sulfur with an IDE is sulfide. Okay. So what I would do is and then crisscrossing, I get calcium here, Ca plus 2, N minus 3, crisscross, I get Ca3, N2. Sodium is Na, oxygen's minus 2. They end up on the opposite sides. I get Na2O1, don't write ones. Okay. So what I want you to do is pause and try these next ones here before I go over them. So I'm going to assume that you are doing that now. And I'm going to go over it. So Ca is just calcium, and Cl is chlorine with an IDE as chloride. Okay. Next one is K, that's potassium. O is oxygen with an IDE as oxide. And let's see if we can't get that fixed. CS is cesium, and oh, that's a mistake. I'll fix that. It should be this. It should be CS3P. Not that you would notice necessarily, but cesium, and then this is phosphide. Okay. Over here, got barium bromide. Ba is a symbol, plus 2 charge. Bromine is Br minus 1. When I crisscross, I get Ba1, Br2. Beryllium is Be, that's a plus 2. Oxygen is minus 2. Like charges cancel. I don't even have to crisscross. I just get BeO. Lithium is a plus 1. Sulfur is a minus 2. I get Li2S. Next, we have covalent, which you have a lot of these, so maybe you'll just do the opposite or odds. So I'm going to roll through the first side here, and then I'll have you try the second side. So 4As, prefix for 4 is tetra. And since it's covalent, my first thing is a metalloid or a non-metal. I say this, tetra-arsenic. Arsenic. And then 10 is deca-oxide. Dec-oxide. You might see it both ways, deca-oxide or dec-oxide. Okay. Next, I have 1 bromine, but remember I don't say monobromine for my first one. Then I have 3 trioxide. Okay. Next I have B, which is just boron, and then 1 oxygen, which is mononitride. Next, I have 2 nitrogens, it's dinitrogen, and then trioxide. Second one gets an IDE. Here I got 1 nitrogen, but it's not mono, it's nitrogen. Triiodide. Okay. Here I got sulfur hexafluoride, that means I have 1 sulfur. Hexa means 6, XSF6. Xenon is Xe. Tetrafluoride means I have 4 Fs. Phosphorus is 1, trichloride is 3, carbon monoxide, and phosphorus pentachloride. So the penta tells you have 5 chlorines. All these don't have any prefixes out front, so that means I only have 1 of my first element. Okay. Once you pause and try the second part here, the second side, and I'll go over those in a moment here. I'm concerned about this fitting. So we'll see. Here I have diphosphorus. I have 5, that's pentaoxide, pentoxide. If you wrote pentaoxide, I wouldn't be mad. Here it's disulfur because I got 2 S's. Then 2 chlorines is dichloride. Not dischloride, but dichloride. Next, I have iodine, dichloride, because I have 1 chlorine, so no prefix, and 1 iodine, so no prefix, because it's my first one, and dichloride, because I have 2 chlorines. Same thing here, 1 sulfur, so I don't say monosulfur, I just say sulfur dioxide. lastly, I have 4 phosphorus, that's tetra phosphorus. And then 10 is dec oxide. Very similar. Notice the only thing different between that one and this one up here is that's tetraarsenic decoxide. This one probably threw you for a loop. Uranium's technically a metal. That's letter U. Hexafluoride is F6. Again, none of these have a prefix on the first one. So I don't say anything. I just have one oxygen, difluoride, OF2, chlorine dioxide, silicon dioxide, and boron trifluoride. So after you finish this, make sure you go back into the folder for today. Let's see if I can get there real quick. And right here, walk through, and then you're trying this ionic and covalent worksheet as quick